You can see I've smashed all my hands up. You can see I've took all the prettiness away. Got a broken nose, cauliflower ears. I tried to get rid of all of the things. When I was a kid, I looked like a little girl. So I tried to get rid of all of the things that made me attractive to men or to perverted men. And I didn't even know I was doing that consciously. It was only writing about the film, that it was only writing about it in the film that enabled me to individuate that, bring it up and process it. So I realised that all of this war paint, this massive back, and this ability to kill in 30 languages, was just armour and just war paint. And just big symbolic signals saying, keep away from me, I'm dangerous. But inside, I was just a wounded kid. So the film was me writing about that in order to locate the parasite. So somebody abuses you. They take away your part of your autonomy. They leave you in a state of terror and mostly confusion because you're thinking, not quite sure why this happened. How did it happen? How could it happen? And why hasn't it been fixed? It leaves you in this place where you're constantly in fear of it happening again, even as an adult. And it's not, you don't really even link it. It's not like you link it. You don't sit there thinking, well, I was abused when I was a kid, so someone else is going to attack me. There's just that sense of dread all the time. So you build up protection to try and save yourself from that. But of course you build up this armory to protect yourself, but this armory becomes a prison. So the part of you that needs to heal, the part of you that needs to repair, is kind of locked away, and you're protecting it with all this armory. So this film was partly about me looking at the situation, bringing it into light so that hopefully it could become a light. So I cleaned it. And in that's, when people look at my arc and they see that I've written about and talked about this story a lot, and I write about it and talk about it a lot because I'm like a pin in a crab shell. I'm trying to get out every last remnant. I'm trying to get every last part of that poison, that parasite out. So when somebody abuses you, they leave a parasite in you. They possess you. Part of them possesses you. So even over time and space, even if they're dead, they're still climbing inside you. They're still abusing you. So I was abusing myself even into my 40s, not even knowing I was doing it. Not knowing that I knew I had no control over it because it would come over me like a lust. And I'd find myself physically abusing, sexually abusing myself, and not knowing I was doing it. And then feeling racked with shame and guilt and confusion afterwards. So the parasite feeds off the lust, it feeds off the abuse, and then afterwards it has its supper and its pudding, its dessert on the fathom deep shame that you have, and the confusion. I mean, I was writing about it only the other day. I'm writing a book at the moment about how to overcome evil with good, and I was writing about it, and I realised that the thing that wounded me most, Paul, and this is what Romans helped me to see, the thing that wounded me most wasn't the sexual abuse. People have had worse sexual abuse than me. It was the dissonance. It was the confusion that this person I trusted. I mean, I was 11, by the way, so trust didn't even come into it. I just gave my whatever it was, my trust over to this person. So when you wake up in the middle of the night and somebody's abusing you, the terror comes from the confusion. You just cannot fathom what's going on, and you don't understand what's going on. And then you're so assailed afterwards by the fear of people knowing about it that you don't tell anybody. So of course it cocoons itself and grows inside like a seed. But it was the confusion and the dissonance that damaged me the most. And then when I did speak to people about it, there was always a sense of, well, what did you do? What did you do to lead him on? Why did that happen to you? There's no smoke without fire. And then there was a suggestion that you were compliant, but you're a kid. How can you be compliant? There's no such thing as compliancy when you're a child. And do you lead him on? I hardly kissed a girl, and that added to the confusion. And of course later I realised that everybody in my life was just as wounded by it as me and just as confused, and they were just as afraid. When you tell people that something's happened maybe after a few years and you're brave enough to bring it out, it's like dropping a cluster bomb in their kitchen. They don't know how to deal with it, and they deal with it in the way they can, and normally that's through denial or through projection, or projecting the blame onto you. So that adds to the confusion. And then you've got the old culture and the religion in the back of your head, which is like God protects, and you're thinking, well, where was God? Where was that? So there's confusion on every level, and you don't realise until you write a film like Romans that the confusion is the weapon of the parasite.